Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So, trying to see if we can kind of do two things at once. That sounds a little rude. I don't mean for it to be rude. But, what are we doing? We're live streaming across, what's the name of this place? Instagram and YouTube. Just wanted to see how it works out. If it works out on Instagram, we'll keep Instagram in the mix. If it doesn't work out, then we won't. We'll see what happens. But today was a big day. Were you paying attention to crypto today? Actually, you know what? Were you paying attention to anything with regard to investing wisely today? Because we do the GMB3, right? We do our own research. We know our entries and exits, and we absolutely invest deliberately. And there was a lot going on today that we should have been paying attention to. So if you caught up to the morning show, we discussed the moves by ARK Investment, new laws by the Philippines and Pakistan, big moves by Cardano, big moves by JP Morgan, Western Union, Ethereum, Franklin Templeton. There was just a lot going on today. And that was the morning. That was the morning. Tonight's question is, what super regional bank just outmaneuvered all of the big national banks in this country? Truist, BMO, Harris Bank, Citizens Bank, or other? If it's other and you're on YouTube, drop it in the comments. And if you're on Instagram, do me a favor and put it also in the comments, whatever answer it is. Again, it's Truist, BMO, Harris Bank, Citizens Bank, or other. Those are the three choices for tonight's poll question. It has been crazy. 3 votes already. Wow. All right. Big Ehab in the his house. Oh man, thank you for that. We out of here. 84 was good. Rick Ritchie in the house. Thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself today. Because the first thing that you do is invest in yourself every day. Before you drop a dime, invest in yourself. Understand the knowledge, understand the business, understand the economics, understand the reason why you want to invest. What's your goal, right? What's your goal? So tonight's news is nuts. We'll get to that poll question a little bit later. Obviously, that's going to be a big part of the conversation. But did you know that 58 entities, dang, you racked up XRP. That's what's up. What it do. So 58 entities, publicly traded companies in the United States, or at least publicly trading within the United States, own about, what's that number again? $3.2 billion. No, I'm sorry, more than that. 3.5%. But $3.2 billion of all of the Bitcoin that's currently owned is only 10 companies. So 58 companies hold a certain amount of Bitcoin, and then a wee 10 own 3.2 billion. Obviously, the biggest strategy. BlackRock. I mean, all the big players are there. You are most welcome, Big Ehab. So there's a lot going on in that space. The reason why I bring that up is because so many people are kind of like, why? Why am I investing in Bitcoin? You might not even realize that you're investing in Bitcoin. You have a 401k, you've got some kind of stock plan or whatever it is, somebody managing your money, mutual funds, whatever. Chances are they could be involved in Bitcoin. The only big player out there that's in the game that's not playing around in Bitcoin, Vanguard. Vanguard is not playing directly into Bitcoin or into crypto. What they're saying is their funds are going to remain traditional. They do all of their investing in crypto through other devices. They own a chunk of Fidelity, a chunk of BlackRock, chunks of a whole bunch of other companies that are deeply involved in crypto. That's how that works. No, sometimes they tell you to look one way while they do something. But in this case, they're literally just saying, we want to separate what our funds do versus what we invest in, right? Our funds are doing this clean, traditional finance. They're not really saying they have anything against crypto, right? They're not really saying that. Hutanek, what's good, man? So that's not what so that in that case, they're not really saying that. They're just saying we just want to keep these clean. But that doesn't mean that we're above investing in a BlackRock or one of these other companies that does crypto. They're down with that. They're just not making it available via their offerings. Big difference. Big difference. Excuse me. Yes, I'm still nursing a cough. Trying not to be around people because I have an ugly cough. So bear with me, because every now and then I'm going to have to take a sip of water. Now, it's a very big deal because a lot of people, like I said, don't think that they invest in crypto. But if they look at the funds that they're involved in, they might actually be investing in crypto and don't know it. If you're invested in BlackRock, let's say, a lot of their funds, a lot of their offerings invest in IBIT, their Bitcoin fund. They have another one for their Ethereum fund. That's the way it's working. So take a look. Might as well start doing it directly yourself, making your own money. Remember how I look at things. It's not necessarily how you look at things, but how I look at things. Saving money is you giving your money to somebody else so they make money off your money, like putting it in a bank. Investing is you making money off your money. That's the big one. Hutanek, I meant to reach out to you. What's your favorite pools for investing or for staking Cardano? I meant to shoot you that note and I didn't have time today. The day just completely got away from me. Big Ehab, my pleasure, my man, my pleasure. What else do we have? This one is very interesting. This one is actually a bigger deal and it's kind of sliding under the radar for most people. I know so many, but your best ones. I just want to know companies that I should be looking at. Stop being difficult. Just kick up the information. All jokes aside, CBOE or CBO submitted amendments for 5 crypto ETFs allowing in-kind creation and redemption of shares using Bitcoin or Ethereum, bypassing cash exchanges with SEC collaboration and benefits like tax efficiency. NASDAQ and NYSE ARCA also files similar proposals, and they're all pending SEC approval. The reason why that's a big deal is because that's basically the SEC saying, we need a little bit of clarity over here. Can you touch that up? So they went and they touched it up. That's why everybody's looking at that as a very big deal. And it is a big deal. Leroy Tice into his house. Thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself. What else do we have? Where can you see XRP, Bitcoin price in 2 to 3 years, exiting these times we live in, what I do? Okay. Oh, so you just looking for pricing. How do I look at that? So right now, if I'm looking at Bitcoin, I think it's very easy for Bitcoin to hit 150 by year's end. Tom Lee, right, thinks that Bitcoin can hit 200 to 250 by the end of the year. The math works. So if you're looking at a range, my math works, his math works. He's just at a higher end, right? But the reason why I say his math is not necessarily a crazy number is because when you look at the rise of Bitcoin, right? That rise is going to be more like it's not going to be a straight line like this. It's going to be more like a curve, right? The reason why I think it's going to be a curve is because you're just going to have more FOMO, more FOMO, more FOMO. Why are people going to want Bitcoin? And let me rephrase that. Why are people going to want Bitcoin and Ethereum? Because of what I just read. If you listened to the show early this morning, it's because JP Morgan and others are considering using your crypto as collateral for loans. Remember how I told you Bitcoin is very different than everybody else? Well, it turns out they're kind of looking at Ethereum in the same way. So Bitcoin might not be alone in that space. if you're holding enough Ethereum, if you're holding enough Bitcoin, they'll be like, oh yeah, we like your crypto portfolio. The anchor of which is Bitcoin, right? XRP price, I think, is going to go up. And some people are saying $5 easy. Or what's the number? Hold on. Boopity 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 boop 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 boop. Yeah, some people are saying $5 is easy. The all-time high is $3.84. Cush hands, what's good? So exciting. I knew what you meant. Don't worry about it. But imagine how easy it is. Bitcoin DeFi. In a way, yeah. From a collateral perspective, yes, I agree with you, Hutanik. But from a transactional perspective, which is what I was thinking before when I said that's what I meant. From a transactional perspective, But for collateral, yeah. Depending on what you're doing, collateral-wise, well, yeah. But movement of value, yeah, that's going to be more like, I know this nitwit, his nickname rhymes with Nick, something like that. It's Nick Knucklehead. So he wraps his little Bitcoin and he'll flip it over on Cardano or something like that, or Avalanche or whatever. That's how I could see it happening. But why go through the trouble? Why not just do it via Aave, Avalanche, or whatever other is out there? But I can see that happening. Excuse me. I need 3 digits plus in XRP. Then create a plan in DCA. Dollar cost averaging is your friend. Dollar cost averaging is your friend when doing that. Right? But when I look at DeFi, there are different chunks of DeFi, right? There are different places and different things that you can happen in DeFi. So what I'd be looking at is, yeah, Hutanik's right. You're going to have collateral with Bitcoin or Ethereum. You're going to have movement with so many other coins. Right now, TVL, Aave. Aave is the biggest, baddest boy out there for that kind of stuff. Do I have a bag of Aave? Yeah, I do have a bag of Aave. What else happened today? Citadel Securities urged the SEC to adopt a structured rulemaking process for tokenized securities, AHEM, to avoid disrupting capital markets. Oh, yeah, traditional market guy getting worried about certain things. Yo, see dumb one. Funny. So looking at that, Hutanik, I saw your message. Give me a moment. Looking at what Citadel is saying, he's saying they're warning of liquidity fragmentation. That actually is a thing. Regulatory arbitrage risk, that's a thing. While industry stakeholders remain divided on adoption timelines, meaning they don't know when they're going to really dive in and be full-chested about things. But I want you to see, for me, I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, damn. A year or two ago, let's say 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we're not having these kinds of considerations, are we? We're not having these conversations 2-3 years ago, right? We're not. Even a year ago, how many companies were having this conversation? There are 58 publicly traded companies right now that hold some sort of crypto. Let that wash over you for a minute. Tell me that's not insane. Tell me that's not insane. But when you're looking at the conversations that are happening now versus a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, remember what I told you about how things are going to go up? They're not going to go up in a straight line. They're going to go up in a curve. That's all it's going to be. It's just going to be a curve. And the more people that get in, the more people are going to use it. The more people that use it, the more people are going to get in. And when I say people, I also mean companies, right? Institutions, companies, businesses, all that stuff. You're going to have people getting in. The next big thing is going to be you're going to have all of the derivatives from traditional finance move over to crypto, right? All those financial vehicles that are happening over here in traditional finance, they're going to move over here. Hutanik, you and me both had no idea it was going to be this big. Let me put it on live chat instead of top chat. Whew. And let me scroll up because I know I missed something that you said, Hutanik. Bitwise index ETF got passed. Yup. I thought I had that in news yesterday or today, something like that. I thought I mentioned Bitwise. What else? Bitcoin miners are making more on fees since each epoch they get paid less to make blocks. Hello, Bitcoin DeFi. Yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true information. 6 months ago, throw cold water in my face. I had no idea it was going to be this big. From a tech perspective, I knew it was going to be this big. Companies are not just looking at crypto to invest. They're looking at crypto as a true technology to be leveraged. Franklin Templeton out there, CEO Johnson. I forgot her name. Jill Johnson? I forgot her name, but I know it's Johnson. No relation. I mean, she is cute. She could be part of the family. She's cute. She put it out there. Franklin Templeton is not playing games either. And Franklin Templeton happens to be a big 401k supplier, right? That's what I'm saying. A lot of people that have 401ks don't necessarily realize that the funds that they're in might actually be holding crypto. Just saying. Something to pay attention to. Been DCAing since 2019. I just need price at 3 digits. When you say 3 digits, you mean 3 digits in front of the decimal point? You see what I mean? So, and for which one? For XRP? For what coin? Brick Richard, did you say something else? Did I miss it? Oh yeah, don't forget, people. Tonight's question: what super regional bank in the United States just outmaneuvered all of the national banks? We're gonna have that conversation in a little bit. So if your answer is other, drop it in the comments. Right now the choices are Truist, BMO Harris Bank, Citizens Bank, and other. Like I said, if it's other, drop it in the comments, and we're gonna have that conversation. It's gonna be a big one. It's gonna be juicy. It's gonna be juicy. Derivatives is quadrillions, right? Trillions. Right? Be careful with derivatives. Be mindful. That's why I tell everybody, practice the GMB 3. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Notice how I stuttered at the beginning? It's because you have to do it in that order. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. That means don't make a move unless you're sure about it. If you're not sure about it, don't do it. That's putting money in, pulling money out, leaving your money where it is. If you're not sure, don't do it. Don't do it. So many people get burned because they're in a rush to do something, and it's kind of like, maybe you shouldn't rush to do that. Maybe you shouldn't rush to do that. Just an idea. Just putting that out there for you. And there are 2 books out there that you can buy that'll help you get an understanding about that. And I happen to write both of them, right? Go on Amazon, look up Eddie Johnson, and you'll see my 2 books. If you ask me, I'll hold them up. What else do we have? We've got U.S. Justice Department closed its case against Kraken founder Jesse Powell. They gave him back all of his computers and devices and everything. Case just went away. Yeah. That's more than a big deal. So yeah, pay attention to these things because they're not small things. They're kind of big things. Because it wound up being, well, why am I going through all this? Right? Why am I going to so there's no there. That's why they dropped the case. There's no there. And the climate is different. Right? So that's one good thing that I've seen out of the Justice Department. So that's cool. I haven't sold my crypto yet, but still considering yield leveraging in the future. Do your research on it, understand it, and then put it in as you feel that you want to put it in, or don't. Excuse me. nothing like water sometimes. What else is going on? Canadian Bitcoin miner Bitfarms announced a $64 million stock buyback. Why is that a big deal? I don't see how you can't see it on Instagram, and I'm not even going to worry about it because I have people on Instagram. How are you missing it? I don't know. They're watching it. How's everybody liking me on Instagram? Can you just go like that? I can't see you, but, raise your hand. What's that, Cadillac? What's going on, Cadillac? These cases are vetting or price suppression mechanisms. Let me think about that. I'm going to have to give that one some thought. Not quite sure about what you mean on that one. We are early entering the parabolic curve in BTC. That will leave people jaw dropped. I have to stop and think about that, Rick Ritchie, because I agree with you, but it's kind of like, are we there yet? Like, do we hit that are we hitting that parabolic point now? I don't think so. I think we probably hit it at about 140, 150, right? Because look at where we are right now. We're having a hard time just maintaining 120. That's not entering, to me, that number is not entering. I think we have a little bit of more time to continue sprinkle as that curve starts to happen. I think 150 will be that triggering point. I think 150 will be that triggering point, and it'll drive everybody absolutely insane. Okay, I'm not worried about that. Yo, D Mac, have you invested in yourself today? Problem is you might get 1x with BTC. The altcoins is the play. D Mac, my man. But like I said, and I've been saying for a while, Bitcoin is not the same as other coins. It's not the same. You're going to get Bitcoin for a different reason, right? You can create a lot of value with the altcoins. Let's not get that twisted. D-Mac's math is absolutely 100% on, okay? But with Bitcoin, that mental for, actually now you have to say Bitcoin and Ethereum, that mental for how much you're holding and the value that others put on Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're going to get used a lot for collateral. Whereas others might not. Depends on where you have it and how the markets rise to the occasion, which you know how that is. So you're buying it for different reasons, in my humble opinion, right? But that also means that I'm probably not going to go, me personally, I'm not going heavy on Bitcoin. I'm going heavy on alts right now. Do I sprinkle into Bitcoin? Of course. But am I going heavy on alts? Yeah. Because that's where I'm going to get my value. That's where I'm going to get my value. And then when everything starts to take that downward move, that's when I'm be like, oh, I'm out. And I'm going to wait for everything to tank. Well, not necessarily tank, but drop a bit. And then I'll get back in. How will I get back in? What will I do? I will take the majority of that money that I've made, the majority of that value that I've made, and that's when I'll snatch up some more Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will have gone like this. So while Bitcoin's rising like this, the alts are rising like this. Steady, right? But more. And I'm all about more value. And then when these come down and Bitcoin goes like, I'm going to be making my money, I'll yank that out. When Bitcoin corrects itself, I'll get back in, I'll have more Bitcoin. I'll still get into the rest of the alts that I had, but I'm going to wait until they crash and burn. Right? I'll wait until they crash and burn. There'll be some alts that I'll be looking at differently. There'll be pockets of alts that I'll be looking at. XRP, Cardano, Hedera. Those will probably, and probably a few more. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but those are going to wind up being in a specific bucket for me. And that bucket's going to be all about what? It's going to be all about transactions. Those will be my transaction puppies. Stellar will be in there, XLM, right? SUI, Ton. Each one of them is going to have their place in the mix. So I'll be looking at transaction coins, coins with a purpose, blockchains with a purpose. Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm going to be looking at those differently. I want to bulk up on those as much as I can. I want to get fat on those as much as I can. But after I increase my value over here, because I might 1x, 2x on Bitcoin, right? But I might 3, 4, 5x on other coins. Ta-da! Same $1,000. Just look at it like that. Same $1,000. I can 1x that with Bitcoin, maybe even 2x that with Bitcoin, right? Or I can 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10x, depending on what I'm buying with other coins. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. I'm all about increasing value. And besides that, I'm not living for my first name. I'm living for my last name. It's all about my kids. I'm fine. I'm fine. I got food. I got a roof. I'm fine. My kids and my future grandbabies, that's what I care about. I don't want them to have to struggle. I think BTC, hold it. Yeah, you're on Instagram and you see me. That's what's up. Big Ehab. We out of here. 84. We out of here 84. Wait a minute. 84. Did you graduate high school from 84 in 84? High school, college, or junior high school in 84. I graduated junior high school in 84. Let me see what I'm missing. I think BTC, XRP, and others go up. No, 200-fold is way, way, way too high, my man. Way too high. Even in 36 months, way too high. 200x? Nah, that's not happening. For anybody, that's not happening. And if it does, it's a rug pull. It's a flipping rug pull. There was a rug pull that just happened. This crypto influencer called Crypto Beast orchestrated a $187 million alt token, allegedly orchestrated a $187 million alt token pump and dump crash with 45 linked wallets dumping $11 million, leaving 10% of alt supply in his control. As on-chain analysis exposed his role despite his denials. Woo. Yeah. So be careful. I'm not wishing for 100x. Those days are over. 100x, 200x, those days are over. Maybe you get lucky, you find one. I'm happy for you. But the chances of that, boo, boo, boo. That's what I think. Buy red, sell green. You're funny. Hutanik, go stand in the corner, man. You're in the corner right now. You are absolutely in the corner right now. Absolutely in the corner. I'm happy for you. I'm not touching DJ16930 because it 100x last week. You got lucky. What does that coin do? Like, you see what I mean? Like, I'm not playing around with any of these micros, because the fact is I'm not going to drop $100 on a coin that I don't know about. That's just not going to happen. I got to have some kind of faith in a coin. And how many coins do you have to put money into to find that one coin that'll do it? I'm not feeling that one. I'm glad you found it. I'm hoping that you made money off of it, but that's not me. I'm doing things with a little bit more. Rick Ritchie, go stand your little behind in the corner. I should have known. Go stand your butt in the corner. I can't laugh because it'll make me cough. Cut it out. This is the evil genius. Evil genius. We out of here 84. Somebody else asked me about Zebek. We did the research a couple of weeks ago. Didn't find anything wrong with it, but it wasn't enough for me to create a slot. Let me define slot. So I have slots that I keep, and each slot represents a bag. Each bag is a token, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, whatever it is. Boom, 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 boom. I have a finite number of slots. It takes a lot for me to swap a bag, right? To swap one coin for another. It takes even more for me to create a new slot. Zebek didn't look bad, but It wasn't enough for me to create a new slot for it. So personally, I have zero interest in Zebek. I've seen it go up and down, up and down. I've seen it, do well, do poorly. It got hammered, and then it didn't get hammered, and so got hammered, and then popped up. Got hammered, got popped up. So if you know a coin, like I do this all the time. If I know a coin, I will play the volatility. I will absolutely play that volatility. What? Psh, heck yeah. Hutanic just said it. Buy red, sell green. But I have a 5% rule. Excuse me. I have a 5% rule. I don't pay attention to anything if it's moving less than 5%, right? Unless it's like 4 point something percent this day and in the same direction another 3, 4, 5% the next day. Now you've got to combine greater than 5%. So now I'm going to pay attention to you, right? But Zebek, I didn't have, it just wasn't enough for me to create a slot for them. So I just wasn't paying any attention. Let me come up here. I feel like I missed a couple. DMAC. Okay, that was not for me. What else do we have? I'm going to, oh yeah, I'm going to owe some taxes. I know that for sure. Well, depending on what I do and where I put it and all that good stuff. When BTC curves, yeah, I don't know about that because I don't know about that one, Rick Ritchie. I don't know that I buy into that. It almost does feel like a Friday. I think BTC, XRP, and others go up. Yeah, no, I read that one already. XRP versus SEC case looked like a vetting process to me, and or just prices suppression. I know what you mean, but not really. They wanted to crush Ripple. They wanted to absolutely crush Ripple because they saw it coming. Ripple, before the court case, Ripple had business with tons of banks, especially overseas. They were moving money cross-border for like American Express and others overseas, and they were impressed. So they were like, oh, we got to get rid of these guys. And so they tried it, and so it didn't work. They kept making money. How did they keep making money? They were making the bulk of their money outside of the United States, which is why they were able to survive for so long. They spent like $225 million on this court case, plus an additional 125 for the actual fine. Right? And people just don't realize the connections that they have, the business that they're already doing. They just think that it's a miracle that they have all this money. No, they're freaking making money. Those connections didn't go away. Those connections basically said, make that case go away or make it not hurt us and we'll be here. And guess what? The case went away and they're all there. Because what does Ripple represent? What does XRP represent? It represents, a coin that can move on the XRP ledger, right? Very fast, very secure, very cheap. Cross-border. There you go. That's why it is massive. DMAC is correct. It is massive. When you really pull the covers back, you do your research on XRP and Ripple, you realize it's massive. Excuse me. So yeah. So Zebek, no. XRP all day. Yeah, Big EHAB, it's all about my kids. Everybody else is fine. But the kids and grandbaby, for future grandbabies, hopefully, knock on wood, it's all about them. I got enough food, you know what I mean? Got water. I want them to be okay. I want them to be better than okay. I want them to be better than I was when I started. And I want them to be I want their kids to be better than them when they get started. That's how you build multi-generational wealth, right? All those things set you up. Setting up the proper trusts, making sure that, you actually have your bank account paid out. When you drop dead, if you're married, when you drop dead, your bank account immediately pays out to your beneficiary and preferably to your beneficiary's trust. Yeah. Talk to a trust and wills attorney. That's what I'm doing. I'm talking about, talking to my trust and wills attorney because why would I want my house to fall into probate? Nope. Slap that puppy in a trust and we'll be fine. Everybody be safe. Yep. That's how I'm dealing with things. The only problem with XRP-XRPL is it is centralized. No, you're clinging on to something that's so old it's not even funny now. It's actually centralized. It's actually decentralized. There's a difference between XRP, the coin, and XRPL, which is the ledger, the actual blockchain. And for people that don't like XRP, they normally go running over to Cardano. Well, I have both. Why not? But do some more research on that. Do some more research on that one. What other news we have? We've got Circle stock fell. Why? It fell 8.23% to $198.31 after Compass Point downgraded it to sell, citing a $130 price target. Excuse me. Why is that? Well, it's because banks are going to be able to do their own stable coins, and that will indeed eat into Circle's business. You want to know whose business it's not going to eat into? Tether. It's not going to eat into Tether's business. Tether's not worried about it. Tether's proven that they don't have anything to worry about. RLUSD hits over 500 mil. It doesn't make Tether flinch. Tether lost no business. The third one is, I just reported it yesterday. Who's the third one now? Number tree. The third largest, Athena. USDE. Third largest stablecoin. Guess what? They're not, they're not it. Hutanik, if you want to run a node, then go ahead, run a node. I don't have partners. I don't do the partner thing. I'm not big on a partner thing. So I'm either buying the company, right? I'm either buying a business or the business is hiring my company to do something. But partners, nope. Not happening. Not happening. So you can run your own node. Have fun. I'm happy for you, Hutanik. Go do your own research on that. You feel how you feel. That's great. It's not a problem. That's fine. The question wasn't about running a node on XRPL. They own XRPL. You were just conflating XRPL and XRP. XRP is decentralized. XRPL is a product of Ripple. Yeah. I do know the difference. Promise. What else is there? NFT trading surged as Ethereum and Solana prices rose. That's why it rose. Now, what's funny is that NFTs serve a purpose or some sort of a purpose. Memes don't. Solana is mostly memes. They did the NFT thing, wasn't working. That's why meme coins took off over there. Ethereum is where freaking NFTs live. With the whole smart contract thing and all that. Perfect for memberships and all that kind of stuff. Tickets, yeah. So yeah, I mean, Solana went up today. It did. It's back. It's up. I'm like crazy happy about it because I made buku dollars. I made buku dollars with it. So I'm like, cool, that's great. But I'm still not going to rely on. I'm not going to rely on anything mission critical with Solana. Plain and simple. What else do we have? Aiming at that. It's all about the kids. Yep. And then what else? What other news? D-Mac, I feel like you said something and I missed it. Excuse me. D-Mac, I'm not so sure about that. I believe that XRPL, the actual ledger, I mean, they might have mechanisms in there if the company was to go, that certain things will kick in, but it is under the control, that the blockchain is actually under the control, the ledger is under the control of Ripple, from what I understand, from my research. Understand what centralized and decentralized means. If a company dies and the product is still up and running, it is uncentralized. Good point. What else is there? Crypto influencer, I told you about the beast guy. DeFi protocols added $49 billion in TVL since April, led by Aave's $15 billion, 31% growth for Aave. Like that. Like that. But you know, that's not the topic. That's not the topic of the day. For the past few weeks, even for the past few months, I've been talking about banks. Why? Because banks are not making the right decisions in some cases. So tonight's question is, and only 7 votes? Are you freaking kidding? Whatever. What super regional bank just outmaneuvered the Nationals? Truist, BMO Harris, or Citizens Bank? And then you have other, right? And let me just make sure that the birth of crypto is not decentralization. The answer is none of the above. PNC Bank, it's what you call a super regional. They've got some places, you know, some branches over in the East Coast, mostly Northeast. They have branches in the Midwest, but they're not really a national bank. Their only their cash on balance, their cash and cash equivalents is only $39 billion. Coinbase has enough to buy them. They cut a deal with Coinbase to offer crypto to their customers. Now, if I'm a big bank, you know what I'm going to do? Excuse my language. Cover the little kids' ears. I'm going to crap my pants. Who owns E-Trade? Who owns Thinkorswim? I'm going to crap my pants. All those banks out there that don't have a self-service self-service stock trading platform, I'm going to poop central in my pants. Why? PNC Bank cut a deal to marry its banking services to crypto, and now Coinbase will be providing crypto services to PNC bank accounts, making it easy for their customers to on and off ramp money. That's going to bring them more customers. That's going to bring them a ton of new customers. And why is that a big deal? Because if you're a big bank, you don't have that. Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, BNY Mellon, none of them. None of their platforms are ready for anything like that. They're not. So I could easily walk over to my bank account, yank out some money, go over to PNC Bank and open up and be like, okay, this is how I'm going to on and off ramp my money. And what's the deal entail? I have to go do some research, because does it get rid of that 7-day holding period that Coinbase has because of the deal? So when I drop my money into USDC or whatever, it goes into a interest bearing account maybe? Oh. Remember when you first got involved with Thinkorswim? When I first got involved with Thinkorswim, your money fell into like basically a money management account, right? A money market rather. And it would sit there and you'd earn, a couple of pennies on it. So better than a regular savings account, because you could move your money faster. So you could move your cash from over there and go do something and then put it back over here in cash, and then take your cash and go do something and put it back in cash. So you had a mechanism. Imagine if that's the case with PNC Bank, that's the integration. Oh, damn. Now, if I'm a big boy company or big girl company and I'm going to retrofit my stock trading platform, think Thinkorswim with Charles Schwab, right? Because that's who owns Thinkorswim now. Think about what happens then. Damn. All of that work that they're all doing to offer crypto, they're only going to offer 2 cryptos, Bitcoin and Ethereum. PNC Bank said, hold my beer. We're going to go cut this deal with a company that's 3 times our size, and we're going to be able to offer all those coins. And what? You're talking about companies that are worth, greater than cash and cash equivalents on hand. Hundreds of billions of dollars in cash and cash equivalents. Billions on hand. I've been saying it for months. I've been saying it for even longer than that in private conversations that banks need to go out and buy themselves a little exchange, a little crypto exchange. Dead serious. Citi is holding, I think cash and cash equivalents, the last number I saw was $1.2 trillion frickin' dollars. $1.2 trillion frickin' dollars. You want to know how much Kraken, actually, no, let's not even do Kraken. Let's do Gemini first. Gemini is worth about $7.1 billion. $7.1 billion. That's nothing to shake a stick at. I'm not a fan of the Winklevoss twins at all, not in the slightest. Can't stand them. But they've done well. $7.1 billion? Not bad. It's the last numbers I saw, right? So Citi could buy Gemini and not even break a sweat. It could be a rounding error. $1.217 trillion. Whew. You've got to be kidding me. There's no way. There's no way. But yeah. So PNC Bank, this super regional, because it covers more than one region, but it doesn't cover the whole country. I'm just saying, if I'm a big bank, I'm going to go to my shareholders and I'm going to say, we're going to go buy Gemini. We're going to go buy Kraken. Kraken by itself, I think, is worth $10.1 billion. And they just bought NinjaTrader. So you get a whole stock trading platform with an active development community, with active trades going on. Basically, you're buying 2 banks in one. Oh, I'm sorry, not 2 banks. You're buying 2 cash machines at once. Let that kind of rest over. Just let it wash over you for a minute. Exchanges make money no matter what. Whatever you do, they take their money right there on the spot. You make a trade and it sucks for you, doesn't suck for them, they get their fee. You make a trade and you make a buttload of money, that's great for you, great for them too, because they get their fee. No matter what, they get their fee. They don't wait, they take their fee immediately. They're banks. They're cash cows. So imagine how much money you could be making. A few $100 million, right? Give or take, a few $100 million. And you have to think to yourself, that in that span of time, those exchanges are making money all day, every day, right? 24/7, they're making money. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. With not a ton in expenses. That's kind of a big deal. I don't know what that means, Kraken is long. That makes 0 sense to me. 0. I'm just mad. I could have put that money somewhere else, but I bet on if I am wrong. I don't even know what that means. Stop typing so fast. Type slower so we can understand the sentences. Hope it all does well because the dollar sucks. Amazon AWS. I wouldn't have put my money into Amazon. Right? Oh, there it is. The long game. Kraken isn't the long game. Kraken is, I can buy Kraken right now for under $20 billion and immediately be in the game. Right now, you have a super regional. They're basically in 2 freaking regions. They came around, cut a deal with Coinbase. All their customers are going to get the benefit. And people like me are going to run over to freaking PNC, open up a cheesy bank account just so I can move my money faster so I don't have to freaking wait 7 days to be able to move my crypto. What kind of crappy ass rule is that? So is that going to decrease the unlock period? Because I can tell you now, if it decreases the Coinbase unlock period, or the lockup period, actually, you're going to see a lot of... So if I'm one of these big banks, I'm not just mad that I got outmaneuvered by this tiny freaking bank. They're barely a fraction of what these big banks have. Cash and cash equivalents. Saying it like that, cash and cash equivalents. So I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed that it's not that they got outplayed. They got outplayed by this tiny freaking little bank. And it's like, are you kidding? How did you get outplayed by this tiny little bank? Because you get paid in fiat. That's why. It's a simple answer. You get paid in fiat. You get paid in fiat. You need a way to on and off ramp your money easily. So yes to everything that you're talking about, but it's easy to on and off ramp my money. But now with a combined entity, with a combined services, contract or agreement, all I'm looking for is easy on and off ramps. That's all I'm looking for. Everything that you're saying, it still plays out. You could still see that, yeah, I can still do DeFi. It's just easier for me to get paid, drop it into this account, quickly maneuver it. Quickly maneuver it. So, yeah. So when I look at these things, it's kind of like, wow, are you not paying attention? These big banks are like, oh, we're gonna be doing Bitcoin and Ethereum by the end of Q4 2025 or Q1 2026. And here comes PNC. They're like, oh no, we're gonna be able to do that for you right now, sir. Wow. That's huge. That's huge. And they've all got to be sitting there saying to themselves, because they all thought they were a big deal. They all thought they were big and bad and all that, but a bag of chips. Because they're going to do crypto by the end of the year. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. How many of those customers? Because I think banks they're also not thinking about that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, though. I understand what you guys are saying, and I even agree with it, but it has nothing to do with PNC cutting that deal. You still need banks. Until everybody gets paid in crypto, you still need banks. You still need on and off ramps. Plain and simple. Until you can buy groceries and other things using crypto. And anybody who tells you you could do that right now, they're kind of lying to you. You're using a credit card that will subtract from your crypto account. Right? And then flip that into fiat, vice versa. That's all they're doing is being an exchange and charging you for the service. I don't need that. I need the corner bodega to accept crypto. And then I'm not going to care about your credit card. I'm not going to care about your freaking bank. I'm not going to care about any of that. Once I can pay bills, all of my bills and food using crypto, I'm not going to care about any bank whatsoever. No bank whatsoever. Well, let me rephrase. No traditional bank. No traditional bank. Investment banks might still have a purpose. Private banks still going to have a purpose. They're not going to feel any of that. It's all of the regular banks. Excuse me. All of the regular banks are going to feel that. So I'm expecting that when PNC is up and running, they're going to start eating into the other bank's business. So now it's a matter of protecting your assets under management, protecting that money. Because I can easily see people creating accounts over there. Just, I'm going to go do my thing. And if I can open up an account and not have to walk into a bank branch, I'm telling you, within the next 2 years, I see PNC Bank as a national bank. You guys are freaking hilarious. You know, that's exactly what we do. Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. But imagine PNC Bank out of nowhere. Now, here's the real funny part. PNC is going to get a lot of love off of this. Coinbase is going to get a lot of love off of this. Why? Coinbase is the primary custodian for, I want to say, greater than 99% of the ETFs that are out there. Right? The first ones, they all signed on with Coinbase to be their custodian. Only a couple of them have now gone off and they're doing things with Custodia and a couple of others, but it's not in replacement of, it's in addition to. So Coinbase is already in bed with a lot of institutions. Now imagine if they walk into other institutions and say, you're never going to get there from here. We're gonna treat you like New England. You're never going to get there from here. You should come sign this contract with us and we'll take care of that for you. Give up all the work that you've been putting forward to get your systems to work with crypto. Because a lot of these companies think, oh, well, we have a stock trading platform. It'll be easy to integrate crypto. Yeah, what was that about crypto not sleeping? I said it this morning. I was like, I don't understand why people talk about, it's only intraday when XRP hit its number. You serious with that? Everything that happens in crypto is intraday. No matter what time it is, it's all intraday because it doesn't sleep. Trading happens 24/7, 365, 366 on leap year. I don't understand why people think like that. I don't understand why people even talk like that. I mean, to me, it says, you don't know what you're talking about. I can turn you off now. Boop. Because every now and then, somebody will mention a name to me and I'll be like, oh, let me check out that show. And then it hits me like, no reason for me to listen to that person again, ever. Maybe every now and then they'll throw out a pearl, but I don't have the kind of time to waste listening to a show where somebody believes that crypto goes to sleep like stocks. Sorry, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. And there are stock markets that are actually thinking about 24/7. NASDAQ is thinking 24/7. They're all thinking 24/7. Why? Because crypto is 24/7. The world of traditional finance is being disrupted already. How do we get rid of the on and off ramps? I don't even understand that question, Max. I do not understand that question. In order to get rid of the on and off ramps, you have to have everything done in crypto. So it'll be years before that happens, right? 2-3 years? I think 2-3 years max. But the real deal is you have to complete the loop. You have to complete the loop. You have to be able to get paid in crypto. Right? If you can get paid in crypto, that changes the loop. That completes everything, as they say. You complete me. That's what that would be. That's what has to happen. If you really wanted to, make it all a closed loop, like all done, that's what you'd have to do. That's what it'd have to be. Right now, you have investment in crypto. You have some functions in crypto. You need to complete the loop with being able to purchase things in crypto. right? You need to be able to pay bills in crypto, and you need to be able to get paid in crypto. Not all of that circle is completed. Still missing a whole bunch of pieces in that. But once that loop gets closed, like I said, I think it's going to be 2-3 years. Because you need a way to replenish the crypto. I don't want to get paid in fiat and then have to go buy crypto. I want to get paid in crypto and be able to maneuver that as quickly as I want. That's going to be the big deal. And I think the way that that's going to happen is you're going to wind up getting paid in either Bitcoin, Ethereum, or stablecoin. But it's going to be something that has very low volatility, if any. And as soon as you get paid, right, because you can see the money come in, as soon as that value comes in, boom, you go do whatever it is you're going to do with it. Like, I wouldn't leave my crypto in a stable coin. Nope. I would not leave my money in a stable coin. Think about that. With the new rules and regulations, I'm not leaving my money in a stable coin. That's just like a CBDC to me now. You say Circle to me, I think CBDC now. Sounds insane, but go read the Genius Act. Tell me it doesn't sound like a CBDC. So there you have it. So anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor. Tell your friends about this channel. We're here just about every night. No, I'm not going to put my money in PaxG either. PaxG can go down. Gold can go down. So am I going to put a little bit in there? Sure, I'll hold some. I would hold some, but I'm not going to hold the bulk of it like that. None. I'm going to maneuver my money so that I know where my value is. Nobody else needs to know where my value is. Do you understand what I'm saying with that? All right. This is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Stop shilling coins. Stop shilling coins. Let people do their own research. No idea what DJet is. Wouldn't touch it. PaxG, yes. XMR, absolutely. Monero. PaxG is gold, for those that don't know. But those are the things that I'd be looking at. But I want to be able to move my coin and put it in places where nobody can touch it. I've already paid taxes on it. I'm done. And that's something else that needs to happen, tax reform. That's not going to happen like ever. But maneuver your money. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. I really hope that you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this channel. We're the only ones that actually care about what you do when the money's going up, what you do when the money's going down. We actually don't talk about ups and downs that much. We talk about strategies about everything. That's the difference between us and everybody else. And I'll apologize now. Everybody, I have to figure out how, because I have a funny feeling I'm going to do Instagram again. 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time will be on. Now, I have to figure out how to maneuver my screens or my windows so I can see everything, more clear. So I can see all the conversations that happen. But tonight was a good show, I think. At least I hope you guys think it was a good show. So anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you have a good one. Smash the likes. Tell your friends about us. And don't forget to come back tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m., where we will have the crypto daily, and then tomorrow night, 8 p.m., where we have the crypto overflow. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you so much for your trust. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.